And welcome to today's edition of Dr. Carole's Couch. I'm your psychiatrist host, Dr. Carole Lieberman. Well, today, June 2nd, in California, well, it's June 2nd all over the world. Not all over the world, but in the United States. Um, but in California, we are having primary elections today. And the question is, will California go down in flames? So California has been ruled but for too many years by Democrats whose policies have destroyed our beautiful state on purpose. And we'll get into that why I say on purpose, and I'm sure my guest, can also speak to that. Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass have robbed us blind while letting fires burn out of control and bringing homeless in to the state so they can fund sham charities. If Spencer Pratt doesn't win for mayor, see that's if you hear that sound, that is an alert for a fire, and they are going off like crazy. But I will turn it off and not pay any attention to it for hope that the fires don't come here in the meantime. Anyhow, they're letting the fires burn. They're bringing in the homeless so that they can fund sham charities. If Spencer Pratt doesn't win for mayor, LA will go down in flames, literally. Similarly, if Steve Hilton doesn't win for governor, we're done. So today's guest knows what's happening behind the scenes, the fraud, the election incompetence, and more. Nils Grevillius, Los Angeles-based private investigator, has been investigating and has done the math, and it is scary. Let me tell you a little bit about Nils. He was first licensed as a private detective in 1992. He got his start as a soldier, conducting clandestine security, border, and counterinsurgency operations in the Pacific, Mediterranean, and Latin America. On a contractual basis, Grevillius conducted private clandestine operations in various nations. He's as an agent of the Pinkerton organization operating in metropolitan Los Angeles. Grevillius participated in the planning of protective, industrial undercover, surveillance, and other matters of that agency. He has conducted kidnapping, robbery, homicide, assault, hijacking, extortion, workplace theft, mass tort, and conflict of interest investigations for a variety of clients. He can tell us who as we get into it. But, for those who he can reveal, suffice it to say, he's an equal opportunity worldwide investigator. And he has set his sights more recently on California. So welcome to the show, Nils. This is a very, 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 very scary day.
Well, I'm honored that you would have me on so important a day to people in Los Angeles, Doctor.
Uh-huh.
When I first went into business, it was right contemporaneous with the Rodney King riots in 1992,
Mm.
when it became apparent that the city was going to get worse, not better, with all of the people who claimed to be responsible to citizens, voters, business owners, the normal people, totally abandoning their responsibilities. The police could barely protect themselves. The academics and the political media, local political media, leftist political media, cheered on the rioting, the looting, the burning, that sort of thing, and drove the getaway cars of murderers. They made it seem as if this was some comeuppance for the normal people. How dare they live normal, staid, prosperous lives in sunny California?
Uh-huh.
They encouraged Reginald Denny, for those who've forgotten the man, the trucker beaten almost to death at Florence and Normandy, to make peace with the men who tried to kill him,
Mm.
and acted as if the men who tried to kill him were the actual victims of the whole transaction. And then a couple of years after that, I witnessed the bacchanal of leftist virtue signaling over a TV, movie, and athletic star murdering his own wife. And it was obvious that he had murdered his wife, and he murdered a friend of
Oh,
his wife.
OJ. OJ. I
Oh,
was trying.
yeah, or involved
Uh-huh.
James Simpson.
Right.
As as Chris Rock said, contemporaneous with all this, if he was a bus driver, he would be Orenthal, the bus driving murderer, instead of OJ, the victim.
Uh,
And even though everybody knew that he had done it, there was so much social credit to be had in pretending as if a crime had been perpetrated for even trying to bring him in for murder.
yes.
So that's what I saw.
It's interesting to look at that because, it's true. I really hadn't thought of that before, but it is true. Those two events were foreshadowings of what's happening today. I mean, then we had George Floyd, and I mean, and even without the famous people, um, I mean, that is what is happening in our society. And it's interesting. I've been involved. Well, I was asked to write. Um, I forgot how I got involved with it, but in any case, I spent hours and hours with Rodney King in a hotel room. That sounds sexy. And I was writing down his story. And I actually am planning to publish this. But because his story as to what he was doing, how he got to be in that place at that time is really interesting. And it wasn't so much Rodney King who was at fault because he was saying, "Can't we all get along?" But the people who used him as as someone as a cause for
Fulcrum and lever,
creating. I'm sorry.
fulcrum and lever,
Yes.
a
Um,
mechanical device.
right. As a way as an excuse to do all the things that you were just talking about, to rampage and so on, just like George Floyd. And then OJ, yes, OJ was, I was actually I did a lot of television interviews as the trial was going on in my capacity as an expert witness, analyzing the trial. And it was really fascinating how the criminal trial ended up with him being a free man, and then the civil trial ended up with him owing money to the people, the family of the people he killed, the families. Of course, they only they have not gotten the money for years and years. They only recently are supposed to be getting the money from his estate. I don't even know if it actually happened. Perhaps you do, but I know that years and years went by, decades went by, before they got what they were supposed to get from the civil case. Do you know whatever happened with that? Did they, in the end, get what they were supposed to?
I think they got a pittance thus far. His pension still pays money out, and I think the Goldman family is collecting a bit on it. None of it will make up for the loss of their son or
Right.
the loss of Nicole Brown. Um, it's a horrifying event. The people who enabled it are far more disgusting than Simpson, as far as I'm concerned. It's like
Right.
these Carole SSRI boxwine harridans urging teenage children to mutilate themselves
Uh-huh.
in the cause of transvestism. And it
Hmm.
has less to do with these children than it does the emotional needs of the quote unquote allies, who are far more disordered, as best I can tell. Their personality disorder is far more deep running than that of the teenager who isn't sure whether he's a boy or a girl or whatever.
Uh-huh. Okay, so we don't know what the current state of voting is. Right? It's now 1 o'clock in Los Angeles, and I've been Googling this, and I can't find anything that says any kind of early returns. You you shocked me when you when you, as a joke, said that Karen Bass won. But you were saying that in any case, you think that that's what's going to happen because of how crooked the whole thing is.
I have no such belief. My
No?
belief is that
Okay.
they will try to steal it. I will have trouble trusting the outcome if Spencer Pratt does not come out with enough votes to at least proceed to November.
Right.
I've noticed on social media the people defending Karen Bass are all part of the Marxist super PAC of the public employee labor unions and the plantation slash parasite class NGO people whose entire existence is derivative of Democrat cryptocurrency. In other words, homeless funds, drug addict funds, repair the city funds, build housing funds, fix the railroad funds, whatever. That money is cryptocurrency for them.
Uh-huh.
It's fungible, it's concealable, it's cycled, it's used to get influence more than anything else. It has absolutely nothing to do with drug addicts, with people dying on the street, people with paranoid schizophrenia, teenagers developing cannabis psychosis from high concentrate THC, from public transit, anything else. The purpose of those funds is to keep a hardcore Jacobin middle class, and they're all from the middle class. They're all bougie middle class Marxists here in Los Angeles, and they're part of the power structure that has enshrined Karen Bass in office. And her only rival within this is this Cynthia Rahman character. I'm not going to call her Nithya because she called herself Cynthia in one of her own social media posts. She's a lizard of some description who lives in a palace on a hill, who thinks that you should have to stumble over dead bodies and empty wine bottles and spent condoms and heroin needles and all of that just to get to the market to get your Soylent Green.
Yes, yes. I refuse to even, I don't even want to, I don't even know what she's doing there, even in the primaries, you know. I mean, she's horrible. And she did really badly in the debate. Now, Spencer Pratt, I think first came to people who really weren't paying that much attention to the election. He really came to more people's attention after the debate when people saw that he really had common sense things to say and did so much better than Karen Bass.
Well, that's a very low bar. You know, Karen Bass has the intellectual horsepower of a potted geranium, doctor.
Yeah, that's about right.
I
You
mean, what are
know,
we talking about here? I mean, for all of her years in government, nobody can pin her to any particular accomplishment or anything like that. I think her greatest accomplishment was staying out of prison for the same thing that Mark Ridley Thomas is up on serious felony charges for. I think
which
that's her single greatest accomplishment.
which is what?
I think it's some sort of a free college degree related to give me some influence in this and that sort of thing. That's the best way that I can quote it. It's just you soak my ass and I'll soak yours. You know, you do
Mhm.
something for me and you know, in exchange, I won't do anything to you. Forbearance and position and pride of place and all of the other things that you do in a patronage situation in city government. I mean, this is Tammany Hall on steroids, and I hate
Mhm.
using on steroids as a qualifier, but I don't have a better one, doctor.
Mhm. Well, I mean, Karen Bass has well, you know, first of all, one of the things that is strong, gets strong support, has gotten strong support for Spencer, and I certainly agree with him on this, is the fires. You know, the fact, well, first of all, let me do a little preface here for people who don't live in Los Angeles or who don't know this. Spencer Pratt decided to run for mayor after his house was burned, destroyed in the Palisades fire, which was in January 2025. And his parents' house in Pacific Palisades was burned as well. You know, they became homeless too. And that got him angry enough to decide to run for mayor. Now, before this, he has been known as a person who was on reality shows. He and his wife have been on a lot of reality shows. Like his wife is Heidi Montag. She's famous for having gotten plastic surgery and not really, and people and really sort of what souring, tarnishing the reputation of the plastic surgeon who gave it to her because she looked older after the plastic surgery than she looked before it. But that's another thing. I don't know her. I'm sure she's a nice lady. He wouldn't have married someone who wasn't, because he seems so down to earth. But anyhow, he and she were in reality shows like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, Celebrity Big Brother. He typically played villains in these reality shows. So he wrote a book called The Guy You Loved to Hate, Confessions from a Reality TV Villain. And but people don't know. And so, so to the extent that he became famous through these reality shows, it really wasn't with the same kind of background or idea where you would think of him as becoming mayor. But it did help him to become better known. Now, what people don't know about him, though, is that he got a BA from USC, the University of Southern California, in politics, in political science. So, he does have some creds besides being on all the different reality shows. And really, just if you listen to him in the debate or otherwise, in news reports, you can tell that he's smart and that he really does know what's going on in Los Angeles and have plans to better the city as compared
May I
to.
speak rhetorically, Doctor?
Sure.
You earlier brought up a reality TV star named Rodney King, whom I went to high school with a long time ago.
You went to high school with Rodney King.
He was two classes behind me at John Muir High School in Pasadena.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to have to interview you for my book.
Well,
Did
so what I would like to say is that Rodney King would make a better mayor than Karen Bass or Cynthia Rahman or any of these characters. And I think
Yes.
Rodney King would be out campaigning for Spencer right now had
Uh-huh.
Rodney survived the debacle he found himself in as the result of all the kindness heaped upon him by the hard left of this city.
Oh, that's so exciting. Did you know him in high school?
I knew Rodney.
Well, that's great. Yes, he did, and he did not deserve, of course, the beating, and he also did not deserve how he ultimately died, in some strange circumstances.
Well, there were a lot of people who wanted to immediately insert their hands into his pocket
Yes.
and use him and deplete the settlement that he ultimately got. And his he couldn't see it coming. And by the time I think he did see it coming, the waves were too tall and too cold.
Actually, do you know, and we have to take a break in a minute, but do you know, I had him on when I was doing a radio show on, I forgot which station, but I've done a lot of different radio shows. I had him on, and he played for the first time over a radio station um, a song from his album. Do you remember he started doing music?
I didn't know him when he was doing music. I knew
It
him
was
when he tried out
after.
for our high school football team.
Uh-huh. Did
I
he make
was
it?
I was a junior when he was a freshman.
Did he make it, the high school football team?
He did, but he got distracted by other things and quickly left the team. But the neighborhood that he lived in the neighborhood I lived in, got burned to the ground on the 8th of January in Altadena.
Oh, wow.
My
Huh.
sister lost her home. My ex-wife lost her home. It
Huh.
wasn't just the Palisades that burned. Altadena lost
Right.
9,200 houses with no
Yes. Yes.
evacuation order, no warning, no nothing. And many people died in a city that was historically half black.
Yes. Yes. I'm sorry for forgetting about Altadena, but
No, no, it's
yes.
okay, doctor. I mean, we're talking about Los Angeles specifically, but outside the city are the satellite towns, and Altadena is one of them. If any of what they said they were going to do for the poor, the disadvantaged in this city were true, Altadena would not have burned to the ground.
Oh, well, yes, of course. All right. Well, we do have to take a break now. We will be back in a minute, so stay tuned. Again, my guest is Nils Grevillius, and he is a private investigator who has been snooping around in regard to the election. So stay tuned. And welcome back to Dr. Carol's Couch. I'm your psychiatrist host, Dr. Carol Lieberman. My guest today is Nils Grevillius, and he's a private investigator, and we have been investigating the ongoing two-day primary elections in California. How about, would you want to talk about, and yes, it includes the Altadena fire too. It includes, all the fires that have been happening during Karen Bass's reign and Governor Newsom. I don't know who's worse, really. I used to call them gruesome Newsom, and really they're the gruesome twosome.
Well, how do we separate them? They're all part of the same political apparatus.
Well, yes.
The California Democrat cult, you know, Newsom isn't as bad as Bunko Jerry. Bunko Jerry is the one who set the stage for what we're dealing with now. He was the one who diverted all that money to getting people out of prison, to inflict them and punish the middle class for not wanting, sex offenders and robbers and marauding gang members in their midst. That was really Bunko Jerry who did that.
Okay.
Gavin has presided over the execution of Bunko Jerry's plans. And Karen Bass is part of the same machinery, just like Javier Baccaria or Becerra, whatever Joe Biden called him, a former attorney general who's trying to become governor now and fighting with the oligarch from the party who doesn't like oligarchs and all this. So we're in a real pickle in this state. I have the belief, though, Dr. Lieberman, that we can fight our way out of it. But the key to fighting our way out of it is with new alliances.
Yeah.
If you look at the working class communities of California, that's the key. Whether they are Anglo, Latino, black, whatever. That's the key to getting our way out of here because heaven knows the middle class white people in this state are all, Kool-Aid drinkers for the most part, with certain notable exceptions. And they are far more disordered for all of their social ills than the working class in this state. It's really a bizarre thing where the blue collar people are emotionally healthier in this state
Uh-huh.
than the middle class are.
Yes, yes. I think I'm more, I don't think I paid as much attention to Jerry. We did have a Republican governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, from 2003 to 2011. And even though he didn't know anything about running the government, which is what some people are, complaining about with Spencer Pratt, Schwarzenegger did a damn good job compared to what we've had since. And uh,
If this is what the experts can do, doctor, I'll take my chance on
well,
the
right,
amateur.
right, yes.
I mean, what could go wrong? I mean, look at the cross-eyed Guatemalan guy selling vegetables on the freeway off ramp. He'd do a better job.
Yes. Um, you know, I want to go. I want to go into the fires a bit because,
Okay.
I personally have been affected by the fires, the Woolsey fire in particular, and I have just moved back. That was in 2018, and I have just yesterday moved back to my house, which has been restored from, it wasn't destroyed by the fire, but there was so much toxic ash and soot and everything else. And then the foundation was broken because of the mudslides that came after. In any case, it has taken me, and plus I have to I work, so I don't have all the time to spend on, well, first of all, people have to spend time with arguing with the insurance companies. Then you have to spend time suing Southern California Edison. So all of this took a lot of time. I'm just saying this for the people who always say, you're not back in yet. There's a lot more to this. So yes, we're finally back in. But there are fires. There are during the time of the Woolsey fire and the Palisades fire too. I mean, I think it was the Palisades fire where they found someone. There was a man in Woodland Hills, and there were people who saw. You know what I'm talking about? People who
I do.
saw this man with the apparatus to start a fire, and they saw him starting a fire. Now, and the police came and they arrested him, and somehow or other, they let him go. Do you know anything about that story? Like, why did they let him go? I mean, they had him dead to rights.
I'm not entirely certain. This may be something for Mr. Hockman's office to take a second look at.
Mm,
When it's a misdemeanor, it's the city attorney's office that looks at it rather than the district attorney. We have had a lot of problems like that. Um, may I point something out?
sure.
In 2023, here in Los Angeles County, a California corrections officer was arrested with 20 kilos of cocaine
Hmm.
and about $200,000 in US currency in a safe house in Los Angeles County with a cartel member. He and the cartel member were arrested. Huh. George Gascon never prosecuted him, never filed on him.
Wow.
And Alckmin recently filed on him. A lot of people are unaware of the certainty that the nexus between Mexican organized crime and our state legislature is the Corrections Peace Officers Association, the labor union that represents the corrections officers. They're
Hmm.
in daily contact with the Mexican mafia
Hmm.
by dint of their job. Now,
Hmm.
am I saying that all corrections officers are cartel members? Not even a majority, not even a minority. It's a tiny number, but they're the ones smuggling in the dope and the smartphones and all the other stuff in to the inmates.
Hmm.
And we haven't lost a single peace officer, correctional peace officer in this state since they closed three-quarters of the prisons. It's super weird. We hired all of those corrections people, then we closed three-quarters of the prisons. You'd think that some of these men and women would wind up getting retired, don't you, doctor?
Uh-huh. Hmm.
But no, no, they still have full jobs with full benefits, that sort of thing.
Well,
And
we
they sure do contribute an awful lot of money to the California legislature. Governor Newsom's very close with them, as you might imagine.
well, I think Newsom is the worst governor that I am aware of, and I am so.
Katie Couric says he's very handsome. You know that, right?
Who says he's handsome?
Katie Couric said that he was remarkably
Oh,
handsome. She conducted like a 2 hour interview of him just a
yeah.
few weeks ago, and
Oh, really?
he
Just a few
talked
weeks
at
ago?
least 3 weeks ago and stated how handsome he was numerous times.
Well,
It was almost
that's how he has gotten by all his life on his looks. That's how he has gotten appointed and
Well,
elected and all that.
if looks were everything, I'd be the emperor of the world, darling. So what I think is that this is not journalism; it's marketing.
Well,
Men like Gavin Newsom can always count on a safe, tame petting zoo media to
yes.
buff them up and then drive their getaway car at the right moment. Every Every single question is scripted in advance. He can't risk an unscripted moment.
Well, that's why it's so important that we tell the world, uh, all of these things that Gavin Newsom has been doing, because he's going to be, presumably, he wants to, and at this point anyway, run for president in 2028. And if that were to happen, what's happening, the downfall of California will be the downfall of America. So we have to make sure that people know just how all the horrible things that he did. I mean, can we, I mean, a lot of people know about during COVID when he told everybody they had to have masks, and then he had this dinner, went to this dinner.
Tim Walz did Tampon Timmy did the same thing up in Minnesota, and
Uh,
Democrats forgave him and pretended as if it had never occurred. He sent the police around to make sure people weren't sitting on their front porches on a
uh,
summer afternoon. Um, what I will say is, like these Spencer Pratt viral AI videos going all over X and
yes,
Instagram, and
they're
then
great. Yes.
just a couple of years ago, those would have been ruthlessly suppressed. And if you shared one, you'd have been banned from social media. I was permanently banned from Facebook in 2022 for
Permanently
the net.
banned. Hmm.
Permanently banned. I got unbanned the day before Zuckerberg sat down with President Trump after the election in
Uh,
2024. I got
uh-huh.
unbanned. But, you know, stochastic terrorism, the Southern Poverty Law Center created a term to denote somebody whose very ideas are so violent that they cannot be expressed or shared with anyone, lest someone be inflicted with violence by dint of the idea.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yes, Gavin Newsom will run for president. And yes, he will have people in the media market him. He will pay a lot of money for that marketing. But because they no longer control the means of distribution of information like they once
Yes.
did,
Yes.
he is radioactive dog excrement on day one.
I certainly hope so. Because what I was starting to say was the COVID instance, that is like, nothing compared to all the things that really have been coming out that he's been doing from, first of all, like getting back to the fires, he gave this excuse for why there isn't water in the reservoirs to protect some kind of a fish or something or other, and
Global
Karen Bass.
warming.
Well, of course, everything is global warming, right? Which doesn't exist, but that's a way to get money, and to not do things you don't want to do. But Karen Bass, they are both of them are connected to the World Economic Forum, and their intent. It's just like Maui, and their intention is to steal this land, is to let the land burn and to steal it and make it into these 15-minute cities, putting low cost housing into these cities. I mean, they're doing it now in LA. Do you know, at the top of Canaan, in Agora, at the top of Canaan where it meets Agora, do you know about that project? They
I've heard quite a bit about it. Yes.
What do you know about it? I mean, I'm sure you know a lot more than I do.
Haven't they set aside like 12% of the units for low income housing so they can punish the middle class?
Something like that. Yeah, and so many houses. And that is the escape route for Malibu when there's a fire in Malibu, and they're going to put all these houses, low income and otherwise, so that it will be impossible for people to get out of Malibu.
Correct.
I mean, some of these things are so obvious. The assault on people who are in the middle or upper class, I guess the upper class. But I mean, it's like it's so obvious, and yet there is nothing being done about this. Well, there are people in Malibu who are fighting it, trying to fight it, doing protests, but I don't think that's going to have much effect if we still have Karen Bass and Newsom. But what else? The in the Palisades fire. It was Spencer Pratt who filed a lawsuit against Los Angeles, and it's because of that that a lot of things are being uncovered in terms of why there was no response. Well, first of all, Karen Bass had taken money away from the fire department. She also, any positions that she did fill, she filled by DEI, not by qualifications.
Well, that's the typical patronage system, though, Doctor. What I think the most egregious thing was the wanton, willful violation of the Public Records Act, where they deleted all of their text messages between the governor and the mayor.
Hmm. When I am not aware of this. What tell us about that?
They deleted all of their text messages from the day before the fire till 4 days after. Every single one of them went poof up in smoke, and they did it deliberately so that no one could see their messages.
Well,
They claimed that it was privileged, even though it's all supposed to be part of the California public records.
but I thought that these emails or text messages are never really deleted. Can't, isn't there some kind of a tech company that can uncover them?
Well, potentially that's what Rob Bonta's office should be doing. And I'm counting on Rob Bonta to immediately intervene to protect all that.
Okay.
Just kidding. No, they could be potentially had, but the way they set the system up, the servers up, once it's deleted, it's deleted. They took the Hillary Clinton lesson. Remember when she used BleachBit to destroy all of her devices so no forensic examination could be done? That's what they've done here.
Wow.
And
Oh,
that's criminal intent. I mean,
yes.
and
Yes.
if voters are so stupid that they're not paying attention to it, the frog needs to boil a few more hours, is the best thing I can say, Dr. Lieberman.
Yes, that is the problem that we've been boiled gradually
Well,
and we're
and
not paying attention
they're
to
very
these.
proud of how long they've been boiled. They love it. It's the most exciting thing in the world. Look at me, I'm a boiled frog. Uh,
Yes. Um, Another thing that Karen Bass, well, first of all, did you see? I'm sure you did, of course. When Karen Bass came back, she was in Africa going to someone was being crowned something or other in Africa, and she had to be there. When she came back and she was met at the airport, and the press were asking her, did you know about this? I mean, she did know about it because there were all these bulletins about the wind and these dangerous circumstances, dangerous conditions that there would be likely a fire. But she wouldn't answer. Do you remember that? She just stood there, and then when she
she
had a
was
press conference,
she
the
was
same
she was
thing
right on the
happened.
aircraft gangway trying to deplane, confronted by the media. And for somebody who's typically so garrulous and friendly with the media,
Yeah.
she's wholly unaccustomed to anything other than a tongue bath from the media. So she just didn't know what to do, the poor thing. It's
Yes.
almost as if she's stupid or something, Doctor. And the only thing she
Almost.
knew, uh,
Almost. I mean, but the nerve that she had to think that, and she did it at her own press conference, the nerve that she had to think that she could get away with, and yes, of course she has, but just not answering. Like, when are you able to not answer?
she always has an answer at the tip of her tongue, and she's always got that nice, sunny talking up as if she's the African American version of Blasey Ford. Why, yes, I'm just so amazed, that sort of thing. Right.
All right. Well, let's see. I mean, I know there's so much more to talk. You're aware of like what happened in Maui, right? That it was the same thing for the World Economic Forum, that they stole the land.
Well, and the people who were victims of the fire were told by the police that they couldn't evacuate. And the ones who
Yes,
survived were the ones who disobeyed the police.
yes, yes. I mean, they had all these exits from the fire area blocked. I mean, these criminal things that are happening, and somehow people are just. And I think a lot of it has to do with COVID, where people became sheep. But we need to take another break. We can talk about that when we come back. My guest again is Nils Grevillius, and he is a private investigator, and we are investigating. So stay tuned. And welcome back to Dr. Carol's Couch. We're talking today about the California primary elections that are today. Will we go down in flames? And the answer is we will if we don't elect Spencer Pratt, at least to get to the in the primaries, and we don't elect the Steve Steve
Steve Hilton, like the
Hilton.
hotel.
Yes, Hilton. How did I? Okay, and if we don't elect Steve Hilton to also in the primaries to go to the election. So I'm talking today, as I said, with Nils Grevillius, a private investigator extraordinaire, and about about what these people are really like, and whether they are psychopaths. So, Nils, tell us what your verdict is on that.
Oh, it's a rather an interesting thing. Occasionally, you will see somebody do some sort of expositive on MS Now or CNN about how this politician is a psychopath and this one is a caring, compassionate intellectual in opposition, that sort of thing. People don't know specifically the definition of a psychopath, and I think psychopath has been removed from the DSM because it's a racist term now. Now they call it antisocial personality disorder or something. But I'm not a doctor. I don't practice medicine. No one is going to hire me to take anyone's temperature with anything other than this. So the characteristics of the psychopath might include criminal versatility, sexual promiscuity, an utter lack of human conscience, an amazing ability to inculcate the sympathetic alliance of dupes, particularly in an institutional setting, the utter inability to understand or care about the pain they cause in others,
Hmm.
um, a metastatic ego, so much
I
so
like
that
that.
to call them merely narcissistic is to do violence to Farrah Fawcett and people like that. Farrah Fawcett was a perfectly lovely person, even if she was a little bit vain. To narcissist is the term that you hear on the Nancy Grace show all the time. Well, the psychopath, for the psychopath, because of their criminal versatility, homicide's not off the table, is it?
No.
Murder for hire, thievery, deception, betrayal, incest, whether it's actual incest, de jure incest, or de facto incest. And in fact, if you look at the state of California right now, we have a pathetic political media with certain notable exceptions like the Epoch Times and the um,
And the California
California
Post.
Globe. Yeah,
The
the
New York
California
Post, the
Post.
California version,
Yeah.
that's really
But
been doing a great. They are recommending
yes, they
Spencer
are.
Pratt and Steve Hilton.
So
They
let's
put
So
their
in talking about figurative de facto incest, look at the Fresno Bee, the Excremento Bee, the LA Times, the San Diego Union Tribune, the San Francisco Chronicle, how oily they are in their consanguinity with the sick, pathetic cult of plantation class Democrats who have destroyed this state while they drove the getaway car, while they suppressed all dissent, while they amplified the lies of these people running the state and running the city of Los Angeles in particular. Look at the LA Times, how they've bolstered Karen Bass, how they've tried to attack Spencer Pratt for even having the temerity to run. How dare that citizen decide that he can run for mayor
right,
of this city?
right.
You know,
Yes. Who is he?
that that is psychopathy on an institutional level.
Yes, I agree with you. And it's like, how dare anybody run against Karen Bass, this God's gift to Los Angeles? Um, can we talk a little bit more about some of the things that Karen Bass and Newsom have done? For
Well, how about
example,
taking billions and billions of dollars that was earmarked to build quote unquote housing for the unhoused? Well, they're okay. They do violent. They're in a an abusive relationship with English vernacular to call the derelict class unhoused. If
Yeah,
I'm living on the streets, Dr. Lieberman, it's because I made a series of bad decisions.
right.
And what keeps me on the streets is the lack of consequences for the bad decisions. The the penal code, the health and safety code, those things were meant to be society's guardrails to protect me if I'm addicted to narcotics, or if I'm an alcoholic, or if I'm a bipolar dual diagnosis, that sort of thing. Those guardrails were meant to protect me. If everything is we'll get you next time, or here you go, you're going to be on probation for 3 days. Take these harm reduction medicines, and you'll be all better. You'll never be a drug addict again if you take this narcotic that we give you to replace the narcotic that you're
Right,
buying from our donors in the cartel. Well,
right.
this is the other cartel. And in my professional opinion as a detective, I'm going to paraphrase, I think, Drew Pinsky a bit here, Doctor. The four horsemen of the Gen Z apocalypse, particularly in places like Los Angeles, have been harm reduction medicines, high concentrate THC cannabis and vape, AI, social media, and a new form of human software, quite different from its old variety, called searchable internet pornography. And the younger someone is when they get introduced to any one of these four horsemen, the more likely it is that they are to fall off the horse and get trampled to death by it. Right? Searchable internet pornography is probably the single greatest reason why the Gen Z male cannot connect with the Gen Z female, and why the Gen Z female dates other Gen Z females rather than
Yeah.
males.
Yeah. Yes, yes, that's all. Uh,
It's destruction. The same guys who are cutting their junk off today were chewing on Tide Pods 5 years ago on YouTube. They're
on
looking for the.
on TikTok. Well, I mean, they got the TikTok challenge. Yes. Um, some of this, I mean, it is sad. I don't like to quote Drew Pinsky, uh, but it is sad that, I mean, he's not a psychiatrist, he's a pretend psychiatrist. So I don't,
I'm aware. I know who the man is. I've met him a few times. I don't hate him. I partially agree with him, Doctor.
okay, I'm just saying, I'm not gonna go there.
I'm not a
Um,
psychiatrist either.
okay, but I'm not asking you to be. I wanted to, this is one of my key pet peeves of the homeless because the answer to the homeless is not what they've been doing. Well, first of all, they've been using the homeless to steal money. There are all these charities that are supposed to be to help the homeless, and all they do is take money and give it to Karen Bass and Newsom. But so the real solution to the homeless is to reopen. The homeless are mainly mentally ill, psychotically mentally ill, and addicts, drug addicts, alcohol addicts. And the reason why we have all this homeless, first of all, is because they closed the state mental hospitals years ago. That's where these people were years ago. And they closed the mental hospitals with the idea that we would have the least restrictive environment for for the homeless or for people who were patients in these state hospitals. And and what happened was they did, and they were supposed to open up community clinics. And the idea was that these people would be released from the state hospitals and go somewhere and then go to their community clinics for medications, like once a week, once a month, whatever. And they never did make enough community clinics, first of all. Second of all, when you are schizophrenic or bipolar and you're in the mid and you run out of medication and you get to be psychotic again, you are not going to find your way to a community mental health clinic, even if there was one. And the other place that the people are now, the homeless consist of those people who should have been and should be. We should reopen these state mental hospitals. Um, and they're also in the jails, to the extent that people get into jail anymore these days. So that is the solution to, and that's actually Spencer Pratt has talked about that. That not in exactly those. I mean, I haven't heard him say that we should open the state mental hospitals, but he is talking about giving them treatment instead of the homeless treatment instead of just giving them a roof. And what has been done up to now, if anything, it's been to, because they have to use the money for something to pretend that the money is really going to the homeless. So they've been building these like little homes and giving some of the people a roof. Well, that's not going to solve the problem to give them a roof. Yes, it's very nice, but it's not going to solve their addiction. It's not going to solve their
No, it
psychosis.
solves the problem for the Democrat Party, though, Dr. Lieberman. You're missing the part about how, in order to receive any of these benefits, these figurative benefits, whether it's EBT or general relief or homeless services, etc., you have to have an ID from the state. And if you have an ID from the state, you have a ballot that's automatically sent to you. And you have a caseworker whose primary mission in life with the county of Los Angeles or the state of California is to make sure that that ballot gets filled out correctly and
Yes,
harvested. That's their primary mission.
that is
And
true.
all of that homeless money, that is cryptocurrency for those Democrats. That's all that it is. And the SEIU is a Jacobin super PAC, the union representing those social workers. That is their entire mission in life. And you can also say the same thing about the nurses union, the court clerks union, all of them. And sometimes it's the firefighters union that's behind it also, because they get so much benefit from the state of California by protecting the status quo, running this state
Well,
into the ground.
yes, except I don't think the firefighters are very happy right now with Karen Bass and Newsom.
No, they're not, but their union is still protecting her and giving her money.
I have a question. There have been a lot of fires recently. I mean, there have been a lot of fires, period. But recently, in the past, let's say 2 weeks, and they are not close enough where it would be the embers that started the new fire, but close enough where it could be an arsonist going from place to place. Do you think that there are arsonists currently setting these current fires?
Yes, there's a lot of that. We also have bum fires, which are almost indistinguishable. You have people who like lighting fires. They don't broadcast it because it's foreplay for the MDSO psychopath who's an arsonist. They love hearing about fire, about the fire response, about people getting burned, things like that. They love that stuff. So public law enforcement goes very light on ever discussing arsonists unless it's
Uh-huh.
absolutely necessary. We have 17,000 bum fires in the city of Los Angeles every single year. So that's 46 bum fires a day that LAFD has to
Bum,
answer to.
BUM?
Bum fires. Bums light fires to cook
Uh-huh.
methamphetamine, to cook their
Uh-huh.
lunch,
Uh-huh.
to stay warm because they dropped their crack pipe, whatever. Okay.
Uh-huh. Yes, that is a big problem, especially like in the Santa Monica Mountains, to stay warm, to cook food, to camp out. Yes, and we've had little help trying to stop that. Well, our time is up. I would like to thank you.
I
Very
want to
interesting.
apologize for quoting Drew Pinsky or even paraphrasing the man. I didn't know that
That's
you
okay.
were incongruous with the doctor. I don't know him well. He was attending physician to a very good, or a friend of mine was his attending when he was just out of medical school.
Uh, I just think that people should stay in their lane, in terms of not pretending to be a psychiatrist when was never trained as a psychiatrist. That's all. He's a doctor, he's an MD. But that's it. We don't
Yeah,
have to
he's
talk about,
internal medicine.
yeah, we don't have to talk about him anymore. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for what you do. And let's just
Thank you
hope.
for lending me your fantastic audience and for the wonderful questions. You're very smart. I'm grateful. I am honored that you would allow me to participate, Dr. Lieberman.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. And I will be in touch. All right. And let's hope and pray that there are enough citizens of Los Angeles and California to do the right thing today.
Karen Bass has been reelected for life. She's going to be mayor.
No, no, don't even put that out into the environment, into the No, no,
I'm
no. It's good.
teasing you, doctor. I'm teasing you.
Don't,
You
you've
know,
already done that enough today. Into the no, vote Spencer Pratt, vote vote Steve Hilton, and let's get California to get out of the to stop from being burned to death, and all the and deprived. What's the word I'm looking for? Burned to death, and also having no money, becoming totally penniless. They're
well, the best way to oxygenate the embers is with some gaslighting. I mean, that's how we get here, right? How to
don't
get that fire going real good? Lots of gaslighting.
no
That's what they do.
don't no. All right, bye bye.
Have a wonderful day, doctor.
Thank you. And thank you all for listening. You've been listening to Dr. Carol's Couch. And I don't usually get this. Okay. I guess it's been.